Hello and welcome to TFL Bike with your resident bike newbie, Tommy. Behind me is something very special, my very first real bike, the Honda Monkey, 2021 Honda Monkey. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why this little bike is perfect for someone like me who's just getting into riding. I'm going to show you all the gizmos and gadgets. This little monkey is a really cool little bike with roots that date way back to the late 1960s and 70s. With the Honda CT70, the little itty bitty trail. Now this monkey is a real motorcycle. It's got a title, it's got turn signals and a headlight and everything you need to be road legal. It's just a little bit smaller than your typical motorcycle. Now the seat height is officially listed at 30.6 inches. I am 6 foot 1 inch tall. Let's see if I fit. You know, it really isn't all that uncomfortable. Now I weigh about 160 pounds. I still have plenty of suspension travel left. Obviously I can flat foot it just fine at a stop, but even with my foot on the pegs, it really isn't all that bad, at least for shorter rides. Now the wheelbase is about 45.5 inches, and the weight, this is the best part, 231 pounds. And as a beginner like myself, it's great being able to just kind of maneuver it around without any difficulty. The engine in the Monkey is a 125cc single-cylinder air-cooled unit. It's actually the same engine that you'd find in a lot of other Honda products. Think the Honda Grom, although apparently there's a new Grom, but the current generation Grom uses the same engine, as does the Honda Super Cub, as does the upcoming Honda CT125. It's not a super powerful engine, but here on the Monkey, it's made it to a 4-speed manual transmission, and it's a proper manual 1 down, 3 up, just like you'd find on the Grom. It's not the semi-automatic thing like on the Super Cub. Today's video is brought to you by you and your support of TFL by purchasing our gear. We've got a bunch of really cool t-shirts linked below. Visit them at theduckcompany.com. So check out the key in the Honda Monkey. It's a traditional blade style key. It doesn't have the remote style like on the Super Cub, but simply take the key, put it in the ignition, and check out this really cool animation that happens when you flick it on. I do love that little animation where the gauge cluster like blinks at you, and the whole bike is styled super retro. It's super vintage. I just love the overall look. It does have some modern touches though, like the full LED headlight. Now in this position, this is just kind of the on position with the engine off. When you start the engine, the low beam comes on, and then there's also the brights. The controls on the Monkey are very basic, of course. Key on, you do have a trip computer here on the gauge cluster. On the right side of the handlebars, you've got your controls for your cutoff, and then of course your start button. And then here on the left, we've got controls for the low beam, the high beam, the horn, and then the turn signals, but that's pretty much it. The Monkey has just a 1.5 gallon fuel capacity. It does have a lockable fuel filler, which is nice, but it takes, I don't know, a few dollars worth of fuel, and then you're back on the road. One thing that is kind of nice though, it does have a proper electronic fuel gauge. The 2021 Monkey rolls on a set of 12-inch wheels, and the tires are 120 width in the front and 130 width in the rear. All Monkeys have front and rear disc brakes, but ABS is an option. It's a $200 option, and it's front wheel ABS only, so the rear will lock up all day long. Now on this side of the motorcycle, we see a couple of interesting things. Of course, we've got the Honda logo there on the side of the engine. We've got this little inspection port that shows you how much oil is in the engine. And then we've got the exhaust, which takes one of the craziest paths on any bike I've ever seen. So it comes out here in the cylinder head. I believe this is like a little catalytic converter, and then it circles around and out the back. I feel like we could probably put something a little bit more free-flowing on this beast. So what is the little Honda Monkey like to ride? Well, being I haven't ridden pretty much any other motorcycle, I think it's brilliant. But truthfully, as a first bike, it is perfect. Now let's talk about the transmission. Just a 4-speed, but for a beginner, it's super easy to learn and super easy to use. So plop it down in a first gear, and the friction point is clear and precise on the clutch lever, and it's actually pretty hard to stall. Now power-wise, it's the fastest thing in the entire world, at least if you're used to driving cars, because it just takes off down the road with a lot of confidence. Only 125 cc's, but that is enough to get a person like me up to 55 miles an hour easily, even faster than 55. It really trucks down the road with a lot of confidence. Now, one thing you do have to be a little bit careful of, it's got a really short wheelbase, so if you start jiggling it back and forth a little bit, the whole bike just wobbles. It's easy to get this thing into a wobble. You got to be very delicate on the controls, but once you get past that, the ABS is super effective, the brakes work immediately, and it's really easy to maneuver. It just weighs 231 pounds, so in parking lots and tight situations, I can zip this thing in and out of tight spaces with no difficulty. Now, my plan with this bike is actually to do it up a little bit. There's a lot of tuning and accessory parts available for the Monkey. I'm thinking about going more of like a dirt bike route because we live here in Colorado. So maybe it's a more aggressive tire on the front and the rear. And then in terms of the actual protection of the bike, maybe a different exhaust, something that's less crazy and twisty, some kind of crash bar, some kind of skid plates on the bottom, and then go zip around some dirt roads. It's obviously not going to be like a CRF 300L rally, but it's going to do pretty darn well because it's just so light and so nimble. I think as a beginner, I have a lot to learn on motorcycle control using this bike, and then I will be able to buy something a little bit bigger and a little bit faster for when I'm more confident and more skilled. One thing I don't like are the mirrors. They are a little bit close, and I'm a pretty skinny dude and even still have a hard time seeing past myself, but apart from that, I have absolutely no complaints with the ride, and it's got a nice little burble to it as well.
How's it going, everyone? This is Case from TFL Bike with our Ride Smarter Tip of the Month, brought to you by Rider Justice. We all know riding 2-up is one of the great aspects of riding a motorcycle, but did you know that your insurance may not cover your passenger, or that insurance coverage can differ if your passenger is married to you or not? Or that your passenger may not be covered if you caused the accident? Neither did I. That's why you want to make sure you carry a healthy amount of uninsured/underinsured coverage, as well as liability insurance. Shoot for at least $250,000 of uninsured coverage and more if you can afford it. On most premiums, that works out to a couple extra bucks a year, and it's worth it to protect you and the ones you love. To learn more about how to ride smarter with common sense tips anyone can follow, go to riderjustice.com, the champions of biker rights, on the road, in the courtroom, and now across the country.
In terms of other features on the Monkey, while you get one of the squishiest seats in the industry, I think this makes up a lot of your actual suspension, but below the seat you have a little lockable helmet lock, and apart from that, a set of tail lights and turn signals. That's about it. Now here on the side of the bike we've got the Monkey script and this little keyhole. Let's see what's underneath this cover. So you put the key in, you turn it to the right, and it actually is held in with these little clips, these little grommets, and the whole cover should, in theory, pop on out just like that. Now clearly you're not going to hold a lot underneath this cover because it hides a lot of the electricals, but there is this little container. You actually use the key to pop in these little rivets, pull out these clips, and I think this should be the toolkit, and it is. Let's see what they include in the toolkit on the new Monkey. So a little bit of an elastic here, and we can see this thing. Alex, what is that thing?
I think that's to lock your helmet up, but I could be wrong.
Okay, this is apparently to lock your helmet up. Let's see what else. Some kind of plastic thing, which I assume is going to have, a reversible screwdriver. You've got a fuse puller, and you have an Allen wrench. And that is the whole toolkit of the Monkey.
Commenters, what is this?
What is that thing? All right, well, let's put it all back together. Now, in theory, you could use this space behind this cover to keep your registration and stuff, but it is pretty minimal. The MSRP on the 2021 Honda Monkey is just under $4,000. Keep in mind, ABS is the only option, and that's a $200 extra. You can get the 2021 model in red or blue. This one is obviously the red one, which is awesome. Get the red one, but if you like blue, you can also get the blue one. That was not needed to be said, but I said it anyways. That's pretty much it. I mean, it's a fun little bike. I'm going to let Alex and Case really rip it around to tell you how it handles from an experienced rider, but as a beginner, I'm having fun learning how to ride the little monkey. So be sure to stay tuned to TFL Bike for a lot more monkey and real motorcycle reviews. And as always, this is Tommy. Check out tflbike.com. We'll see you next time.